Real story. Curse house on the deserted road a few years ago. A man named Arash, who was very fond of adventure in deserted places, and his two friends decided to go to a remote village in northern Iran. There, locals were talking about a house that they said was cursed. This house belonged to a family that had disappeared strangely. No one knew what happened to them, but from then on, anyone who approached that house at night either suffered an accident or saw things that the intellect would be out. Arash and his friends, who loved the excitement and scary experiences, decided to go home and spend one night there. When the sunset came home with filmmaking equipment and lights, the inside of the house was completely dirt and abandoned. The broken old furniture had been poured on the ground and the odd smell was spread in the air, a combination of decayed wood and something like sulfur. At the moment they arrived, one of his friends, Hussein, said he felt dizzy, but the rest thought it was excitement. They started filming, and at the same time, Arash heard the sound of a quiet patch from upstairs. Although his friends had not heard anything, he insisted on going up. The stairs were broken and wooden. With every step, there was a loud voice at home. When they reached upstairs, they encountered a corridor at the end of which there was a half-door door. They turned to the door with fear and chills and opened it. The room was dark, but with the light of the light. What they saw through their hair. A woman with a shaggy hair, torn clothes and eyes that had fallen, was sitting in a corner and staring at the wall. For a moment they all frozen. Hussein shouted and the flashlight fell. When the light was taken again, the woman had disappeared, but the blood footprint had appeared on the ground that came to them. The frightened rose back and came down the stairs. But when they arrived at the entrance, no matter how much they were forced, it was locked. As they hit the door, they heard a strange breath behind them. Arash looked behind him and saw the same woman coming down the stairs, but this time, her face was completely dark and black and her eyes had a strange power. At this moment, suddenly a laughing sound of his ear rapped in the house and the flashlights were turned off. A few seconds later, it was suddenly opened and all three ran out of the house. When they arrived on the road and returned, there was no other house. The next day, when they returned to the village and asked about an old man about the house, he just looked at them with fear and said, "You say you were there last night? My son, that 6-year-old house is ruined." And this is the true story of the experience of people who, according to themselves, have come up with something that they still have no explanation. If you like this story, don't like and subscribe.